All right, let's dive into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a place where ancient magic literally collides with modern reality. Welcome to our journey, where we're going to explore a spot where mythology isn't just some dusty story from the past. It's a living, breathing force. It shapes the landscape, drives the local economy, and deeply impacts the lives of millions of people. We're tracking the incredible evolution of the Purnagiri Temple.
So think about this for a second. What actually happens when a deeply rooted Himalayan myth smashes right into a modern tourism boom? That is the core mystery of Uttarakhand's Purnagiri Temple. Picture this, a sacred shrine perched 3,000 feet up in the Himalayas, right near the Indo-Nepal border, overlooking the Sharda River. What happens when a secluded spiritual retreat, born out of cosmic legends, suddenly becomes ground zero for a massive modern spiritual tourism movement? How does the myth survive all that?
To unpack all of this, we've got a pretty straightforward roadmap. We'll start with the origins of the Purnagiri Temple, dive into the local myths and legends, walk through the actual pilgrim's trek, check out the massive Purnagiri Mela, and finally, look at the future of spiritual tourism here.
Okay, Section 1, Origins of Purnagiri Temple. Let's start right at the very beginning.
Now, you might be wondering, what makes this place so special? Well, we've got to clear up a really common confusion first, the difference between a Shaktipeeth and a Siddhapeeth. You see, while a Siddhapeeth is a historic site where sages achieved enlightenment, a Shaktipeeth is on a whole other level. It's a potent center of divine feminine energy. According to ancient Puranic texts, Lord Shiva was performing a cosmic dance of grief, the Tandava, carrying the charred body of his wife, goddess Sati. To stop this world-ending destruction, Lord Vishnu used his chakra to dismember Sati's body. The exact spots where her body parts fell, those became known as the mighty Shaktipeeths. Purnagiri is celebrated as an incredibly powerful one because it's believed that Sati's navel, her nabi, fell exactly here.
And looking at the timeline, the evolution of this place is just wild. It goes from this massive, world-altering cosmic event to something super grounded in human history. Fast forward to 1632. A merchant from Gujarat named Chandra Tiavari is fleeing Mughal atrocities, seeking refuge up in the Champawat region. He has this vivid dream where the goddess commands him to build a temple. And boom, the physical worship site is born. Skip ahead to 1927, and you have the famous environmentalist Jim Corbett staying there. Cut to today, and the site is undergoing massive, modern, government-funded upgrades through initiatives like the Perched scheme. It's an absolutely stunning historical trajectory.
All right, moving on to Section 2, Myths and Local Legends. Let's see how that deep history actually translates on the ground.
There's this absolutely fascinating spot right on the pilgrimage route called the Juta Mandir, which literally translates to the false temple. The story goes that a wealthy merchant made a vow to the goddess, "Give me a son, and I will build you a temple of pure gold." Well, the goddess delivered. But the merchant? He got a little greedy. He tried to pull a fast one and brought a copper temple just painted with gold polish. Big mistake. As his laborers set the temple down on the path to take a quick rest, it magically froze to the ground. Like literally immovable. They couldn't lift it again. He had to leave it right there. It stands today as this stark, incredibly cool reminder of the goddess's power and the absolute folly of trying to trick her.
But hey, the mystique here wasn't just for local devotees. Even legendary British hunters were totally swept up in it. Like I mentioned earlier, Jim Corbett himself actually spent the night at Purnagiri in 1927. He even wrote about it in his book Temple Tiger, describing how he witnessed a mysterious divine light while staying there. I mean, when a pragmatic, hardened woodsman like Corbett writes about having a divine experience, you just know the atmosphere of this place is something truly unique.
Oh, and before you even think about finishing your pilgrimage, there's another legendary stop you absolutely have to make. Down by the Sharda River in Tonakpur sits the Temple of Siddha Baba. Legend says a sadhu arrogantly tried to climb the Purnagiri mountain thinking he was above it all. The goddess, definitely not thrilled by his ego, literally tossed him straight into the river below. After he frantically apologized and begged for forgiveness, she relented and granted him a boon. So now, local tradition says your pilgrimage to Purnagiri doesn't actually count unless you also pay your respects at the Siddha Baba temple. Talk about grounding the supernatural into very specific, step-by-step local customs, right?
So what does it actually take to physically get there today? Let's get into Section 3, the Pilgrim's Trek.
Getting there is seriously an adventure in itself. Step 1, you're taking a train or bus down to the town of Tonakpur. It's actually really well connected now by trains like the Purnagiri Shaktipeeth Express. Step 2, from Tonakpur, you hop in a local vehicle for a 13 to 17 kilometer ride to a base point called Dhuligad. But step 3, that's where the real test begins.
Sure, the roads to Thuligat are modernized, but that final ascent is a grueling 3-kilometer uphill climb on foot. You are navigating incredibly steep stairs and rocky mountain slopes.
You might be thinking, why put yourself through that? Well, the payoff at the top is absolutely unbelievable. You're standing at an elevation of 3,000 feet on Punya Parvat, surrounded by dense, lush sal forests. You look down and you see the Sharda River carving deep, dramatic gorges below, which actually acts as the border with Nepal. And then, stretching out endlessly beyond that, are the expansive Tarai Plains. It's this sweeping, dramatic vista that makes every single step of that grueling trek feel 100% worth it.
We've talked a lot about the secluded past and the quiet trek, but let's shift gears to the vibrant, kind of chaotic present. Section 4. The Grand Purnagiri Mela. 2 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the population of a major city, all converging on a single Himalayan hill during the Chaitra Navaratri Mela alone. It's an absolute logistical marvel and a massive testament to the magnetic pole of this specific Shaktipeeth.
So, what does a gathering of 2 million people actually look like? First off, it's not just a weekend thing. This festival runs for months, usually from late March all the way to mid-June. It is a total sensory explosion. You've got deep spiritual reverence, blending right into local commerce and wild cultural celebrations. Picture massive ceremonial processions carrying palanquins. Imagine countless temporary shops lining the routes, selling souvenirs and religious items. And maybe the best part? It's a massive stage for local heritage, showcasing vibrant tribal and Kumawani folk dances like the Jora and the Cholia. It's just a beautiful fusion of pure devotion and vibrant community.
But bringing 2 million people to a fragile mountain ecosystem? That brings us to Section 5, the future of spiritual tourism.
According to research published in the ISR Journal, we're seeing a massive shift right now. The state of Uttarakhand's actively transitioning from just hosting simple, hyperlocal pilgrimages to becoming a highly organized hub for what they call spiritual niche tourism. This means they're moving away from massive, unorganized crowds toward a much more structured experience, tailored for seekers looking for transformative, healing journeys in the Himalayas. To manage all this without ruining the ecosystem, experts use something called the triple bottom line analysis. It's basically a balancing act. You can't just focus on profit. You have to balance the people, meaning you ensure a safe, profound experience for pilgrims while respecting the locals. You absolutely have to protect the planet, safeguarding the delicate Himalayan biodiversity, the sal forests, and the Sharda River from plastic waste and erosion. And yes, you must ensure profit, generating sustainable livelihoods for the locals who rely on this influx of visitors without turning a sacred religion into a total commercial circus.
And to stop ecological collapse, they're taking some pretty aggressive modern steps. The Wildlife Institute of India is actually out there conducting carrying capacity studies, literally figuring out exactly how many humans this ecosystem can safely handle. To ease that grueling physical trek we talked about, there's a proposed 35 crore rupee, 3-kilometer ropeway project in the works. And the government has launched the Manaskand Mandir Mala mission. It's a massive initiative to restore 16 ancient Kuman temples, including Purnagiri, using eco-friendly materials to preserve their original historic sanctity.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. As Purnagiri continues to evolve from a secluded shrine set up by a fleeing merchant in 1632 to a mega destination pulling in millions today, this is the ultimate question devotees and conservationists have to face. Can we balance the sacred whispers of ancient mythology with the roaring footprint of modern spiritual tourism? Can the goddess's sanctuary remain a place of peace, or is it destined to be overwhelmed by its own popularity? It's a really fascinating challenge, and it's playing out right now in the Himalayas. I hope this gave you a great, clear look at the amazing evolution of the Purnagiri Temple. Keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next one.